Welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 229. It's all about contrast. It's funny, people say they have a type. So you see this kind of dark-haired, honey-colored Latina, or frankly even some Serbians or Bosnians, or a beautiful mulatto person, and you see this white-skinned, blue-eyed, very blonde, Scandinavian type person, and the contrast is stark. Some people prefer a little browner person, and some people prefer a very pale person. Some people like a person who's really tall and skinny. Some people like someone who's shorter and a little curvier. Everyone has their vision of what they like. Trust me about chicks. I know this, and that's why I'm not going there about what women say about what they think they want. Guys, I'm sorry, you're going to have to ask your own woman about this story. But yeah, everyone has their opinions, and the contrast is stark. Some people really love bubbly, vibrant, crazy, wild, a little unpredictable personalities. Some people like someone who is a very dependable, very rational, calm, predictable. I've heard a person use the language, I just want an ordinary person. I don't want them to be exceptionally smart. I don't want them to be exceptionally energetic. I just want an ordinary person. Yeah, we all appreciate different things, and those contrasts are part of what makes life interesting, beautiful, exciting, frustrating, challenging. Yeah, those contrasts are really a big, big thing. My challenge question for you today is, do I even know what I like? That might sound like a very funny question to you, but it's a big deal because oftentimes I'll ask someone, what do you like? You say you don't like this and you don't like this and you don't like that. What do you like? Well, I don't know. That's a big, big challenge. You kind of need to know what you like. It's a very big challenge in a relationship with your child, with your spouse, with your friends, with your siblings, with your parents. They'll say, oh, this is going to happen, and we're going on vacation here, and the whole family's going to go, and you need to contribute this amount of money. Well, I don't even like the beach. Why would I do that? Well, what do you like? Oh, I don't know. See, you have to learn what you like. It's a big thing when you go out to eat, and I deal with this constantly. Where would you like to eat? I'm not really sure. Why don't you choose? Okay, let's go eat steak. No, I don't really want to eat steak. Okay, so you know what you don't like, but you have no idea what you do. Okay, find out what you do. That's a kind of a challenging thing, but it's an important thing in the world, in life. Find out what you like. Start off easy. What color do you like? What kinds of foods do you like? Do you like your house to be comfortably messy, or are you pretty OCD and you like your house to be very neatly organized and extremely clean and I guess we'll say just livable? In other words, if there's not a little bit of mess somewhere, it's barely livable. People come in, they're almost afraid to sit on the furniture. But what do you like? Do you like a car? Do you like a truck? Do you like a manual transmission? Do you like an automatic transmission? Do you like to wear glasses? Do you like to wear contacts? I mean, I'm dead serious. Do you like to wear jeans? Do you like to wear a suit? Do you like to wear a t-shirt? Do you like to wear button-up kinds of clothes? Do you like your clothes flowy and free? Do you like your clothes well fitted? There are lots of things in the world that you need to start looking at and finding out, what do I like? The reason this matters is your children's opinions and what they like are going to be dramatically different than yours. And if you don't know what you like, you cannot even have that conversation. And so the contrasts of life are part of what makes things interesting and beautiful. You need to accept that people all around you have different preferences from yours, and not one thing or another thing is right, and not one thing or another thing is wrong. I mean, the guy who puts ketchup on his hot dog and the person who puts mustard and onions on theirs, neither one of them is wrong. They're just different. It's a contrast in preference. The person who wears these big flowy things, we'll say a caftan. I'm talking to women predominantly, but there are guys who wear these big flowy robes too. Or someone who wears something extremely well fitted. There isn't a right or a wrong. There's sometimes a difference in what looks attractive on a person's particular shape, and yet everyone has their own preferences. So we have these contrasts in life. The reason why it's a good thing to be able to look at them is because if you are stuck in a rut, and I heard someone say once, a rut is merely a casket with the ends kicked out, or a grave with the ends kicked out. In other words, it's kind of on the road to death. You're not going to get very far if you're stuck in that rut. Sometimes you have to resurrect and get up and go a whole nother direction, and you have to be willing to do that. And it isn't very comfortable. It isn't very fun initially to do something entirely different or to change direction. But there are times we all need to be able to do that. So I'll tell you an illustration of someone I knew that was in banking, not at a super high level, but high enough. They made decisions about whether or not people got loans and made all these phone calls to verify that the information they gave was correct. Of course, this was a long time before computers were in place. And they liked their job well enough and they got paid quite well. But they, over about a 6-month period of time, decided they were absolutely fed up. I mean, sick to death of it. And they'd been doing it for 20 something years. And they made this gigantic leap and became a teacher, made less money, had more headaches. But they were thrilled, really loved the job of teaching. That's what I'm talking about. Life can have contrasts, and sometimes we look at where we are, we look at what we're doing, we look at how things are going, we see another contrasting thing, and we're going to make this gigantic leap because we decide we dislike where we are now. I think one of the things that's awesome as a parent is we have the opportunity to explore different kinds of things, whether that is different kinds of foods, different kinds of museums, different kinds of movies, different kinds of clothing, uh, lots of things, and we can expose our children to that. I know someone who takes their son test driving various kinds of vehicles about every month or two. And I do mean really kind of crazy different vehicles because they both love cars. And it's now that this person's son is an adult, it's something they can do. They can do it together and they love it. They love the contrast of various kinds of cars and trucks and the feel of things. Yeah, it's exciting for them. I know someone who goes and frequently has very different kinds of foods. They're still looking at and discovering the contrasts of things and finding out what they like and what they don't really prefer. And that's a really great thing. You need to allow that to happen. You also need to let your child experience or understand different kinds of people. I was talking to a young man this past weekend, and he was telling me he doesn't really know anything except for his own culture pretty much, and he's 24 years old. He said he's interested and he wants to travel and go do all this. Well, he lives in a very large city that has a Greek population, a Polish population, an Italian population, a decent Chinese population. There literally is Greek town, the old villa, Chinatown, and a part of the town that's very Polish. I won't name the name because some of you might know it. And I said, you are doing this yourself because you have the opportunity for lots of kinds of exposure, but you don't go to the Greek festival. You don't go to the Italian festival. And he said, oh my goodness, no one ever told me this was a possibility. I didn't know these things existed here. Mom, Dad, come on. Learn what's available within a couple 100 miles of you. And heaven's sakes, if it's only 20, you definitely need to learn. You need to let your children see the contrasts of things. One of the things I really love is uh, New Berlin in Ohio, Shipshewana, Indiana. I really took my kids to see Amish culture, which is a very simple, they call themselves the plain people on purpose, a very ordinary, plain, simplified lifestyle. They had a lot of exposure to it, actually. and they have an appreciation for it. And of course, I took them to various countries around the world. You need to let your children see contrast. You can't go around the world, you take them to a shelter and you let them hand out scarves or socks or t-shirts. Uh, Prepare a meal for people in a homeless shelter. Let your kids see contrasts in this life. First of all, they'll develop a sense of who they are, an appreciation for what they have, ways that their life can be richer and fuller by contributing to someone else, and they will also develop a sense of who they are and what's important to them. Sometimes seeing homeless people and realizing some of the factors that are involved in and contribute to their life will help a person to stay off the streets. They'll decide they're going to work hard and they're going to manage their money well. And I promise you, I know this is a fact because I've seen it happen in a couple of generations now where the understanding of that has changed those young people into very responsible, mature, uh, financially aware people. Yeah, show your children the contrasts of life. Show them various kinds of artwork and art periods so they see that kind of contrast. Help them in museums to see history, where things have changed. There are just so many great things in the world. Help them to see and hear contrasts. That's even true musically. I recently spent time with my grandsons. They like rap. They just have a very different set of things on their playlist than I have on mine. Uh, and I listened to a lot of their music. I didn't prefer some of it, and they know that, and they crack up about that. They find that to be really comical. But they will listen to my music. And at one point, my grandson was doing this. He's like, "Oh, I can't stand it. Please turn it off. It's giving me a really bad headache." And I said, "Wow, I'm really sorry." And he said, "No, no, Granny, I'm just messing with you because that's what you do when you hear rap. After a couple hours, you're over it and you don't want to hear it anymore." I said, "Okay, dude, I got it." Yeah, expose your children to various things, help them to experience different kinds of contrasts. Literally, take them to a rock concert, take them to a ballet, take them to the opera, take them to go see a beautiful concert. I mean, talking a symphonic concert. Yeah, let them experience different things and help them to see the beauty of contrast and develop their interests so that they find out and discover what they like, what's beautiful to them, and it will make all of your lives that much richer. It's been so good having you with me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I will look forward to seeing you again soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.